So apparently there was a TikTok of a woman talking about her kind of dating experience. I tried to find the original one before I looked this up, but it was pretty hard to find. I wasn't able to find it though, unfortunately. I saw it somewhere, I just couldn't find it. Maybe she took it down because of how much publicity it was getting. But essentially what she was talking about was she's having difficulty finding people, like she's trying to like date. She went to this event, kind of got like a pointed out in a way. It was like believe it was like a comedy show. She sat in the front row and apparently was the only one who sat in the front row. No one was being rude to her. They were kind of being like overly nice, and she hated the attention it got because now people only saw her as the girl who went there alone. Again, there's a whole thing around it. We're not really going to cover much about the TikTok itself as much as the response that I got from Tim Pool. And his response to this is just fucking weird. But we'll get into that. Now, apparently, the clip of him saying it was from a like members only stream, so there's no like secluded video we can watch. So we're just gonna watch the majority report on it.
But here is Tim Pool. He, remember, like part of like what he's doing here is trying to build up. What is it? Like the manosphere? What is it? Is that what he's
We'll
in
skip
now?
through some parts of it just to like get to what Tim actually says.
And I mean, generally just monetizing the
we'll probably watch some
alienation of
of
society.
their actual talk
He's
about it.
teaching his young male audience members, and like that's a cohort that I think a lot of right-wing influencers are after, teaching them how to be manly men.
High value men,
be a
right? Is that what
high-value man.
his term is?
Yeah. To get a hot a baby, a hot girl, and your Bugatti. I don't know.
I just love looking at a grown man wearing a knit cap all the time. Even I'm thinking about his suit that he wore to Mar-a-Lago with the with the knit cap, and then also saying the words "high value man." But okay, here he is, trying to wax poetic about when maybe someone would be happier.
He's reacting to a video that kind of went viral by a young woman who basically said it's tough to find people, and there's a lot of problems with loneliness in the current society. We can get into the reasons for that, but that's what he's reacting to.
What you think? Would people like this be happier? I think about what society would have been like 100 years ago for this woman. She'd have gotten married at probably 18 or 19. She would, even in the 50s, she'd have a family and a house. But here's the funny thing. I wonder, would she be happier then? Maybe. As the saying goes...
Which is just wild to say. First off, saying like being married at 18, 19. So like when do you think that relationship would have started, Tim? And here's the thing, she obviously was very upset over the whole encounter, but at the same time, it's just like, it's one bad experience. That doesn't mean you shouldn't stop trying. Also, he goes into a whole thing like, oh, she started out late. First of all, I think he's dating someone now, but Tim's like almost 40. There's a very viral clip of him talking about his relationship status from like a couple years ago, but we'll get into that later on.
You don't know what you got till it's gone. They paved paradise to put up a parking lot. But humans live in a state of relative happiness. And that means that even today, as incredible as everything is, people are going to be upset. And don't get me wrong, coming from the highs of the Trump economy to the lows now, it's kind of like, I get it. Your cheeseburgers cost $5. I'm looking at the inflation charts for the average prices of McDonald's food, and you got these people being like, "We'll stop comparing the highest, most expensive markets to the lowest," and it's like, dude, there's a chart showing the average price of all McDonald's, and it's gone from like $1 for a cheeseburger.
I don't know why he's bringing this up when he's supposed to be talking about like dating nowadays.
$4.
I guess he just can't help
but
himself.
I'm being hyperbolic. It's $3.89 or something. With taxes, you're spending like $4.20. So yeah, I understand why people are getting upset, but I'd just be willing to bet that a lot of people like this, if it was the 50s, they'd be like, I'm so unhappy because my husband does this and does that. And they don't know what you got till it's gone. I'd be willing to bet you.
Pretty sure she would be much happier when she had way less rights and was treated as like an item. Yeah, I bet she would be really happy, Tim.
Ask this lady, would you be willing to be a stay-at-home wife? No career. Your husband's in charge of the finances outside the home. You're in charge of things inside the home. Would that be acceptable to you? You'll have kids. You'll have family. You'll have community. I'd imagine at this point she'd say yes.
Also, this is just a wild thing to say because like this is not what she's like really, talking about. What she was talking about is that it's just hard to meet people. And she just listed off a bad experience that she had when she did try to do so. It's not like, oh, this is what's wrong with guy. Well, I mean, still, even then, like, there is a problem with dating culture when it comes to guys. And she probably wouldn't agree with you because she probably does run into those guys who's just like, I'll be, like, you have to be, like, submissive to me. And maybe that's, like, you don't know this woman. That's what, and here's the thing, I'm playing into that too, of being like, well, maybe this was her experience. But again, I'm not sure. Maybe that was her experience. Maybe she wouldn't agree with you. It's just wild for him to like assume all this stuff. And also like this again, this is not what she's talking about. She's just saying it's more difficult to really meet people.
Community.
I think a lot of women would say yes. And I think you've got in this modern society, this is, women being told, you want to have a career, you have to be responsible for yourself. And there are a lot of, and this is, it's not unique to women, or I should say it's not only the fault of women.
Oh, good.
But it's also I'd say.
I like how he had to like do a double take to be like more misogynistic. He was like, oh, I'm not being misogynistic enough. I need to be more so.
Weak men. Our society in general is
I love how he says like our problem with society is weak men. Tim, what do you think you are? Let me pull up the clip I was talking about. So this is him talking about dating.
See that I'm about to be 34 and I have no family. Because my dad had 2 kids by the time he was 27.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, you know what the problem is though? It's definitely not me.
Yeah, that's not a weak man. A weak man is definitely not someone who blames everyone else for their problems except for themselves. Because that's how it works. When you fail at something several times, you never look inwards. You never look at what you could be doing differently, or how like your approach to something is going. You always just blame everyone else. Every house that I go to, I just take a shit right on the floor, right when I step in, and then the people kick me out of their house. Well, it's not my problem for shitting on their floor. It's their fault for kicking me out.
right now, there are guys out there. These guys are average looking, and they are incels, involuntary celibate. For a while, we saw online, and hikikomori, Japan calls them. There was this one interview that came up like 10 years ago, and it was a guy saying that he was like an incel. And everyone's like, he's an average looking dude. He's like, there's nothing wrong with him. He's just like normal looking dude. But he was like, I can't get a relationship, blah, blah, blah. I think the challenge for this woman is feminism in every facet.
It's just, like, why do you think they're incels? Here's the thing. Like, why would you think those people... I love how his whole approach to this is just like, how do we fix the incel problem? Well, we shouldn't do it by, like teaching these young men to be more sociable, to be, have better social skills, to present themselves better, have more confidence. That's the problem that we have. Our problem isn't that there isn't enough young men being laid, like getting laid. Our problem is that we have a confidence issue. Like, a lot of these guys just aren't confident. That's the problem. But Tim sees that, and his response is that, no, women need to be property. That's how we fix this.
Oh, no way.
Telling guys to not be masculine, telling women to be girl bosses. And I'll tell you what the end result is. I'm not saying feminism in general is wrong or anything like that. I'm saying that...
I don't think feminism is wrong, but that is the problem. We're telling guys nowadays not to be masculine. No, just don't be fucking assholes about it. There's plenty of like aspects of masculinity that are completely fine. It's just when you're an asshole about it, and that's what a good amount of guys kind of do with it. They do it in a very toxic way. And here's the thing, I have aspects of that, certainly. Like, sometimes I can be overly competitive, but I try to work on that. I try to like turn that little voice in my head that's like, no, you really gotta beat these people in this like minuscule thing that doesn't matter. It's about overcoming that. It's not being a dick.
Sort of
the
what
end
it's saying.
result in large numbers results in things like this. So what do you
Pause
get?
it for 1 second. I just I mean, look, there's so much. It's amazing how little he says, but how much of it is total BS.
Filling time.
Women who prioritize career over family, and now at 33 are like, why can't I find a relationship? Well, you were 26 when you started looking. What happened? 26?
She was focusing on herself more than likely. Like, that's the thing. Dude. Also, literally in this clip, you say you are 34, about to turn 34, and you have no family. What the fuck's wrong with you, Tim? But he's not a weak man, guys.
See that I'm about to be 34 and I have no family.
No, he's a strong man that wears a beanie to a wedding.
Wow. I mean, you go back in
What?
time, all of human history, and you've got 18-year-olds getting married, having families in their early 20s,
Bro.
grandparents in their 40s. And now, at 26, you're like, I want to
about
be
you?
with someone.
Can you pause?
I want to go see where he's going with this.
Well, I do too, but
I think he's saying that women should start looking for husbands at age 12.
No, he's saying 20. You should start at age 18. What? Thank you for protecting yourself legally, buddy. Women should start looking at 18.
I'm not even sure he said start looking. I just think he said get married by 18. I might be wrong, but let's see.
I think about what society would have been like 100 years ago for this woman. She'd have gotten married at probably 18 or 19.
Yeah, he's saying they would be married by 18. Not even, they would start looking. No, they would be married by 18. And I guess this is where, like over here is where the clip ends. So yeah, that's all we're really going to talk about that. It's just disgusting how he talks about this. It's so weird when it comes to the manosphere stuff. And, like, how many of these guys talk about this, dating and shit like that, but, like, they're all just, they all talk about being a strong man. They're all, like, the weak-ass men that they complain about. Like, it's, like, fresh and fit. Like, you're not coming off as a strong man when you just talk about your insecurities, because that's all they really do.
Why the hell are you going to pay full price for a goddamn car that's been used? What women don't understand is men don't ask for much, okay? If I'm going to take you seriously as a girlfriend and or a wife, my only real request is that you don't embarrass me and fuck other guys, okay? But they have the fucking gall to sit here and say, yeah, insecure. No, you dumb bitch. I'm not fucking insecure. I'm very secure in my goddamn confidence. I don't want to fucking wife up no hoe, all right? And I'm tired of women out here telling dudes, small dick energy, you're insecure, bitch. I'm not going to the Lamborghini dealership with 300 bands to pay 200,000 for fucking pay.
Whenever they complain about women and the dating scene, it just comes off as, like, insanely insecure. And the same thing happens here with Tim Pool. Literally, the connection with, like, this, like, with this clip from his members only podcast, and that clip I showed you a little bit ago of him being like, the problem isn't me. It just comes off as him being like, if only these women were just like objects that I could just get right off the bat, I wouldn't be a crippling, lonely, single, bald old man. But yeah, that's all I really got to talk about there. Just gross.